What's going on, guys? So this week we're going to be looking at our AFC NFC Championship lineup. This is going to be the last lineup we have before Super Bowl time. So we're down to four teams. So the optional lineup configurations are going to be very limited, I guess you can say. So there's only going to be so many configurations that really should pay out. I think this week we've got a good set of players here, and we're going to just jump right into it. So last week we did have a few duds. I did not see the change with Dion Lewis taking the sole back role from LeGarrette Blount. For that reason, I think it cost me in a lot of my lineups. I think I only had about 10% of Dion Lewis as a value play in the flex, so that was my mistake. But we're going to bounce back this week. Hopefully this will be the week that we make some good money. So jumping right into it, quarterbacks, we only have four to choose from. All four are stud quarterbacks, so you really can't go wrong. But I think overall the highest upside for the week is going to be Aaron Rodgers. Second, obviously, is Matt Ryan, both of which are going up against very porous defenses, weak secondaries. So I think that game is going to be a shootout, very high-scoring game. I'm not exactly sure what the spread is on that. I've got to research and see if there's an update on the spread, but I can only assume that's going to be a 50-plus point game. And I think both sides are going to score a lot of points. I will have probably equal visibility to both Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers. But for the sake of my video this week, I'm definitely leaning more towards Aaron Rodgers. But like I said, if you want to fade Rodgers, Matt Ryan is going to be the second best option. Staying away from the Pittsburgh-New England game. I think that's going to be a fairly low-scoring game. Defensively, they're both pretty good. Offensively, I just don't see it going very big. So that's where we stand at quarterback. So for running back this week, I just cannot pay up for Le'Veon Bell. He obviously has probably the highest upside of a running back this week. For his price tag, you just have to sacrifice too much, and with such a limited slate to choose from of games, you just really don't. I just can't do it. I don't know. If you really want to pay up for him, Le'Veon Bell is a stud, but going against New England, their defense is no joke, and I really don't think he's going to have the points this week to justify over $10,000 salary. So in the nines, I could maybe do it, but 10 just too much. We're actually going to lock in Ty Montgomery. So Montgomery last week definitely showed up, played 2 touchdowns, 11 carries, 47 yards, 6 receptions for 34 yards, 7 targets. So I think they're going to utilize him a lot, assuming Green Bay makes it to the Super Bowl, which if I was going to put my money on it, I would say they're going to. I think they're really going to lean on Ty Montgomery. Even if Jordy Nelson plays, he's not going to be 100%. I don't know if they're going to force him in this week, try to get some playing time out of him, or if they're going to rest him and hope to have him healthy if they make the Super Bowl. He has been injury-prone in the past, and when you rush a guy back, especially at his caliber, you risk hurting him even worse and losing him for next season. So I think they're going to play it safe, but regardless, I'm rolling with Ty Montgomery. He definitely knows how to run. He definitely has the legs on him to make big plays. But his biggest threat is going to come against defenses in the pass game. He obviously has great hands as a wide receiver, but the fact that he's a dual threat, he kind of is now in that realm of Le'Veon Bell where he's going to get a lot of carries, but also a lot of catches as well. For GPP, that's definitely going to be a good one with high upside. And at $5,600, I think he's good this week for at least 15. Next up, we're going to be actually rolling with Tevin Coleman. So going against Green Bay, their defense is not bad, but it's also not great as of late against the run. I think Freeman is definitely going to still get the bulk of the carries, but as you can tell, Coleman is still getting a decent amount of rush attempts. Give him one good rush attempt for where he can break out, and he can definitely do some damage on the points. He's sub $5,000. He's still going to be utilized in the pass game. As you can tell, he has 3 touchdowns over the last 5 weeks. And then, he always is going to have that possible upside to truck one in on the ground as well. 12 touchdowns on the season. He's pretty close to LeGarrette Blount on that front. And he's not even their sole back. The way Atlanta uses Freeman and Coleman, they pretty much evenly split the workload. And in dual back sets, he's usually the guy that they throw to. So Tevin Coleman this week at $4,800, I definitely think is a lock. At wide receiver, we're going to start off with a stack with Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to go Devontae Adams. So Adams this week I really like. Even if Jordy Nelson does come back, all that's going to do is generally hurt Cobb's value, to be honest with you. Adams is still the clear-cut number 2 over there. And if need be, he steps up as the number 1. 13 touchdowns on the season, a bazillion targets over the last few weeks. Just a very consistent receiver. Even on bad games, he does, aside from week 15, he's putting up double digits almost every single week. At $6,000, if we can get 15 to 20 points out of him this week, that's money. I think he'll definitely be one of the higher-owned wide receivers on the slate. If Jordy Nelson plays, I'm sure a lot of people will lean to his way, but I don't see them using him as much if he comes back from that injury. So I still like Davante Adams this week. Next up, we're going to be rolling with Taylor Gabriel for Atlanta. So I'm going to pretty much be stacking my lineup solely around the Green Bay Atlanta game. The reason for that is that point spread I think is going to be the highest total. 50-plus points or more I suspect will happen. It may even climb up higher than that. I mean, we may even push close to 60 points. So for that reason, I really like Taylor Gabriel. Last week, Sanu had a little bit higher point total for DraftKings, but Gabriel was still targeted more. And when you look over the last, 8 to 10 weeks, Gabriel's averaging around 5 to 6 targets a game. And he's had some really big games of, 75, 80 yards earlier in the season. So he definitely is utilized on the deep pass. He is going to get some of those end zone targets as well. And if Julio is out this week, that means Sanu and Gabriel are pretty much going to have to carry the weight. Either one of those options are a really safe play this week. And for tournaments, they're definitely going to have a lot of upside for their cost. I think more people are going to lean towards Sanu just for the fact that he did score a little bit higher last week. But I think if you look at trends, when Sanu goes off, generally the following week, assuming Gabriel's healthy, he goes off. And Gabriel's just been the more consistent wide receiver from the beginning of the season. So I really think Gabriel's week is this week to shine. So obviously watch for Julio. If Julio is playing and he's 100%, that's going to hurt both Sanu and Gabriel's value a little bit. But I think regardless, Green Bay is going to hone in on Julio, which is going to open up additional opportunities for Gabriel and Sanu. So next up, we're actually going to roll with Julian Edelman. So Edelman, obviously the clear number 1 wide receiver for New England. If anyone's going to eat on that offense when it comes, to this last game of the season before the Super Bowl, it's definitely going to be Julian Edelman. He's just on fire lately. 25 points last week against Houston's defense, which is pretty impressive. 34 against Miami, and double digits every single week. The guy is just a point magnet. Only 3 touchdowns on the season, but given that he does play in the slot, he's going to be utilized for more of those short passing game, pass attempts. So he's going to definitely be a GPP machine with lots of targets, lots of receptions, double digits every single week except week 16. So Julian Edelman this week is our second stud stack to go along with Adams at wide receiver. Next up, we're going to roll with Jared Cook. So even if Ladarius Green does play, I just don't think he's going to be 100%. He's one hit away from being out again. Concussions are nothing to mess around with. Even if he comes back, one good hit to the head, he's going to go right back into protocol, and I'm not willing to take that risk. If you're going to pay down from Cook this week, I would say Bennett might be a safe play. I just don't like the inconsistency of Martellus Bennett lately. I just feel like they have so many weapons on that New England offense that everyone can't eat every week. And for that reason, I'm going to fade Bennett for the most part. I will have a little bit of visibility to him. But the number 1 guy I'm rolling with this week is Jared Cook. I've rolled with him a couple times this season, and he does not disappoint, especially when they're in a clutch situation like this. They're going to utilize that tight end a lot. He's a big receiver. He's a big body. So he's going to make those plays. I'm not going lower than Bennett this week. I don't like James or Hooper. If you're really trying to save money at tight end and you want to pay down for those guys, do not expect a huge week. I would definitely not go too high on ownership there. But we're locking in Jared Cook at tight end. Let's jump over to defense real quick. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. The options are limited, but definitely if I was going to have to be a betting man here and put my money on one defense, I'm going to say New England has the most complete defense, both secondary pass rushers, everything. They've just got the complete package on defense. They're healthy. They're looking good. Steelers obviously have some weapons with Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, but I think if anyone on this slate of games can shut down an explosive offense like Pittsburgh, it'll be New England. Now, I don't expect 20 points out of them or even 16 points necessarily, but I do expect 8 to 10 points this week with a couple sacks, maybe even a pick, and if we're really lucky, a pick six or a kickoff return wouldn't be horrible either. But definitely that's where we're going to stick there. And then to round everything off, I'm actually going to go with James White for New England. So last week, James White did have, obviously no carries. He had 1 reception for 19 yards and a touchdown. Now, generally speaking, you don't look at that and suspect, oh, they're going to do that again. Because if you look weeks prior, 7 points, 13, 6, very up and down. But every single week, he's pretty much getting 2x his value at minimum, which I look at as that's the floor, right? So 6 points is the floor, 2x, with an upside of 13 to 18 points as a ceiling. I think in a game like this where Pittsburgh's going to be very aggressive, they're going to be rushing that pass as much as they can to keep Brady from the deep pass. They're going to have to lean a lot on those short shuffle passes to the backs, those play actions. And that's where James White really steps up and shines. So I'm going to say this week, James White is a must-play for me. Now, Dion Lewis, again, last week I failed to jump on that. I don't think Dion Lewis is going to have the same repeat as last week. They're going up against a different defense. It's a whole nother dynamic. I think Blunt's going to get the ball again. He's going to be their lead back. Even if Lewis does get some carries and make a pass catch or whatever, whatever happens there, I still think James White is going to be the guy to own this week. And Tom Brady likes White. So that's going to be the lineup for the week. We got Aaron Rodgers stacked with Montgomery and Adams. We've got Tevin Coleman with Gabriel. We got Julian Edelman, Jared Cook, James White, and the Patriots defense. So that's the lineup I'm rolling this week. Like I said earlier in my videos, there are some other value plays I like this week. I'll make sure to leave those in the comment section. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section as well. Again, I apologize for the layout of the video as I'm still not in my house. I probably won't be back home till, a month and a half from now. So my videos that I'll continue to be posting for the Super Bowl, and I'll probably jump into basketball a little bit after the season ends. For football, will probably be in this format until I'm back home and I can get on my computer again. So appreciate the support, guys. I noticed we're going up in subscribers, a lot more views lately. So I really appreciate the support and love. Smash that like button, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for my next video for the Super Bowl. Good luck this week, and let's make some money.